come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's the wild ride in the whistle.
When invisibility doors change.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we are having a random discussion because I am trying to figure out what I'm going to do on my Disney vacation next week. I am going to Disney next week and I am freaking out about it. Not really. I just can't stop thinking about it. So I decided that I was going to just throw all of the things that I'm thinking about at Brian and see what we can talk about. Are you ready for this, Brian?
Always ready for this. I find it interesting that you choose to come to me with all your planning, discussions, needs, when you could be using Melissa Pilgrim for free and getting all the information that you need from her.
That's true. I could be doing that.
But you're not. You're coming to me, and everyone gets to listen to us plan his trip. I also find it interesting because I have not been since 2021, spring break. And even though I have my ear to the ground and getting all the tip-top information and news and keeping up on all of it, you've been there more than me.
That's true. But so it's more of like I'm not asking you to plan what I'm doing. It's more like I'm trying to like bounce stuff off of Brian. I'm trying to like get like I have ideas. I pretty much know like what I want to do. I'm just trying to bounce my ideas off of Brian. And I've done that. I did that once already. Brian and I had a emergency FaceTime. It wasn't really an emergency FaceTime, but I just wanted to FaceTime him, and we talked about going to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party and what to do with that day. We had kind of decided that we were just going to like lump that day into Magic Kingdom, go to Magic Kingdom that day, and just use that whole day as a Magic Kingdom day. But we kind of decided that we wanted to go to Epcot twice. That was definitely something that we wanted to do. And so something you can do with that is you can get into the park at like 4 p.m. That's when they start letting Mickey's Not So Scary guests get into the park. And so, I mean, you get 4 p.m. to like midnight, basically, midnight plus at Magic Kingdom. So you've got like a good chunk of time. And you're already paying pretty much like theme park prices for this ticket.
You're actually paying premium, really.
Yeah. So basically, you want to treat that ticket as like your park day. And we had planned to do a whole day, so we have another park day. So we decided that we're actually going to use that extra park day at Epcot, and so we're going to have more days, more hours in the parks because of that. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense to do something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those things that I've done the party twice, and Mykhailo's going to his first, which I'm so excited for you to go and enjoy this, and can't wait to hear your report back when you get done. But we've done it twice, and both times we spent the whole day at Magic Kingdom, basically. We did like you guys are planning to do, get there in the morning and do the whole day. I am now a very strong proponent for not doing that. Not only are you paying twice to get into that park, but you're also exhausting yourself for the main event at the end of the day. So I look at it as take the opportunity to sleep in, get a meal in that you might not have, spend some time at the pool, just relax, save up your energy for the party, and then, get there, get there at 3:45 maybe and wait for them to open the gates. There will be a dedicated entrance gates there for the party people. So, it's 8 hours that you're getting. And as always, the park doesn't necessarily kick you out at midnight, right? The last Hocus Pocus show is at midnight. So you're getting that show after hours anyway. So why not, spend the day relaxing and save up your energy for the end of the day. And the conversation, as Mykhailo had said, is that they were taking both weekend days as relaxation days, not being in parks, but take that Sunday and go to Epcot instead. You're missing out on a couple meals we talked about, but definitely, I think you're going to definitely get more out of it this way than how you had originally planned.
Oh, yeah. And I think we are excited about hitting Epcot twice and just having more park time. So it definitely makes sense to us doing it this way and not doing a full Magic Kingdom day on the day that we have Mickey's Not So Scary. So basically just using Mickey's Not So Scary as a park ticket. So really now, when you think about it, we have one extra day at the parks, which is awesome. And so we're excited about that. But we've already kind of talked through this. Another thing that I've kind of had my eye on, and we've kind of talked about this in the past, but this is just kind of like me going through it right now. And that is taking a look at weather before I go to Disney. Now, what I'm noticing is if you look at any popular weather app, if you're about like 12 days out, if you're looking at like the 12th day, Florida around this time, it's going to be like the same thing. It's going to be like 90 degrees is going to be the high. That's what they always say. And then there's going to be a 58% chance of rain on every single day. And that's just because it just always rains in the middle of the day at some point. So far, every time I've checked, almost every day, it's said that it was going to rain at 3:00. So it's like clockwork at Florida. So we are definitely preparing for the rain, and honestly, for me, it's kind of like a preparing myself mentally for the rain. And I think that's because I, just as like a vacationer and a Disney goer, just love it when like everything is perfect. Like when everything is and that's the funny thing, is that like that barely ever happens. Like not everything is always perfect, but it's like you get to the parks, it's like a bluebird day, and you just run into the parks and it never rains. I've had a couple trips like that where like we've completely avoided rain. But I have had trips where it's rained a few times. I've got a feeling that this is probably going to be the trip where it rains the most for us. And I mean, we understand when we're going on the tail end of summer, and summers in Florida, it rains. Like it rains a good amount. So it's just kind of like preparing my mind for that and like preparing ourselves for that. Like we've got ponchos. One thing that I'm kind of thinking about getting is an actual rain jacket, because if we're going to be dealing with rain on a daily basis, I guess, and if we're going to be dealing with rain for long periods of time, because it's possible that like it starts raining and then it doesn't stop raining until 10 p.m. That does happen. So it's kind of like I'm wondering if I should get something more robust if I'm going to be in it for a long period of time. But I mean, I've had good luck with the ponchos that I've used. We just have like these Wisconsin Badger ponchos that we always just throw over ourselves. So I'm kind of torn and kind of like trying to figure out what to do. And I think we're just going to go with the ponchos on this trip and just see how that works and just see if like we're comfortable that way. Cause I still kind of think like if I could find like a light rain jacket that is a little bit more substantial than a poncho because I'm going to be possibly in the rain for long periods of time.
It's so hard to know right now. I've been, we've had some run-ins with the rain in our area recently. And I'm really having trouble with believing the radar. I'm having trouble with believing the forecast. So I feel like a lot of these meteorologists are probably struggling just as much as I am with it. Like I used to feel like I could look at a radar and say, yeah, in the next hour or two, we're going to get wet. But it hasn't been working out that way. So I don't trust anything right now. And especially 12 days out, I think going with a plan in place for rain is always a great idea. I always say bring some flip-flops and a poncho and just be ready to throw them on just in case. Or there's always that kiosk at the end of Cali River Rapids ready to sell you some water shoes.
Not wet shoes.
Yes. So it's good to have a plan. Hopefully your new sling bag will carry all of that for you. But it doesn't always mean that you're going to be sloshing through rain all day. It might mean that you need to just take a 20-minute break. That tends to be what the rain is in the afternoon, a 20-minute rain shower, and then you're good. The humidity will crank up a ton, but you're good to go, right?
Yeah, and that's the good thing is I'm totally okay dealing with stuff like that. I do kind of like psych myself out when I think of like it raining all day of a Disney day. I think that I stress myself out about it, but at the same time, you got to remember all of the fun things that you can do at Disney and how much stuff is inside. So it is kind of like you want your trip to be like perfect. You want everything to go off without a hitch. That rarely ever happens, especially with rain. And it's funny. I say this as if I've never like dealt with rain. I've definitely had rainy days at Disney and had fun. But it's definitely a lot more fun to not have to deal with rain and not have to deal with all of that. But it does happen. It's Florida. It's the summer. It rains.
That's so true. It does. And I'd like to welcome you to the Main Street Water, Rain, and Shoes podcast, because apparently that's all we talk about now. But like I said, it's good to have a plan in place. But grab a snack, sit inside somewhere, you'll be good. Mm-hmm. What else are you looking at, Mykhailo? What are the things that are driving you crazy?
Okay, well, there are these sandals that I've been looking at.
Stop! Just enough.
Hey, at least we know what we like. Oh God. Yeah, it's the other things that I'm kind of like looking at are like food, like just going through all the food. And I feel like it's funny. I've mentioned this before, how food and eating and stuff like that have become a real big part of my Disney going experience. It's not like the major part. Sometimes it is, but it's become real fun to just kind of like figure out like where we want to eat, what we want to eat, when we want to eat, how much we want to eat. Because there's just like so much you can do. But I think recently we've gotten a little more precise about like where we want to go and what we want to do. And just kind of talking about having that extra day at Epcot, I was freaking out because there's so much I want to eat at Epcot. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to eat all of this, but I want to. And it was just like, so we have dinner reservations for our original Epcot day. We've got Space 220, which I'm super psyched about. Like, I love that. I think that's going to be really cool. And we also have San Angel Inn. And so it's like with those two, like when are we eating food and wine stuff? It's like we were going through all of the food and wine stuff and like, oh my God, that looks so good. We should eat that. And like, oh my God, like this whole booth looks really good. So I think this is definitely helping going to Epcot twice with the food. But yeah, that's another thing that I've been kind of looking at. And I think, I mean, there's a couple that I'm trying to weigh, and the big one that I'm kind of going back and forth with is Brew Wing. I don't know, Brian, if you've seen this yet.
I don't think I have. I know you had mentioned this before, but Brew Wing, this is the, wait a minute, this is the peanut butter and jelly wings, isn't it?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Yeah, those sound interesting. Why don't you pack one of those and the the Kahlua pork slider? Could you bring one of those back for me as well?
Yeah, I'll bring a little baggie and pack some stuff up.
I mean,
but yeah,
that's what we normally do is we'll bring baggies and put leftovers in it. We don't bring it home. It doesn't make it home, but just in case.
Yeah,
that's a parenting idea too. Like if you're going to be out in the parks and you go to a meal and your kid doesn't finish that $12 cheeseburger, throw in a baggie and give it to them later when they're wanting something, because it'll last that 20 minutes until they want to eat again.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just something that we've learned with the kids.
Yeah, and I think the play here for us is that like we're each going to we want to try a lot of stuff. And so we've decided that like each time we go to a kiosk, we're getting one thing, or like, I mean, multiple things, but for both of us. So like we're both going to try, like we're going to get a cheddar cheese soup and a steak, a filet in Canada. And we're just going to share both of them. It's just everything that we get when we're doing food and wine, we're just going to share because we want to try a little bit of everything. Like we don't need our own plates each time we go to these places. And I think honestly, that's going to be the theme for this trip is shareables, because there's just so much we want to try. Magic Kingdom, another one that has lots of really fun snacks. Like I don't know how we're going to try to eat all of the snacks that we want to try, because there's a lot of them. But that's another one. Thankfully, we are going to Magic Kingdom twice also, because we're going on our first day, we're going on our last day. So I think that's going to give us a good amount of time in the parks to try all of the different food selections that we want to try. The good thing is that we kind of know pretty much what we want at Animal Kingdom, and we know pretty much what we want at Hollywood Studios. And both those parks, like, I mean, they've got exciting things going on, but it's like the normal stuff. Like they've got some pretty typical things there. So there's not a lot there that we're like super excited to go try, but at Epcot and Magic Kingdom, there's lots of fun yummies that we want to go experience.
Like the pork slider. Bring me home a pork slider.
The one that I want to try, actually, the pork slider is in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The one that I want to try actually is the spam what's it
musubi.
called? Yeah.
I want to try that too.
That looks really
bring
good.
me one of those too, Kenya.
Kenya is supposed to be pretty good too. They have that was what we call a transition.
There you go.
But yeah, Kenya's supposed to have really good beef, like roasted beef or something like that. That looks really good. So we might even stop at Kenya. Oh yeah, Kenya has also got the shrimp skewer and Kristen wants to try that. So yeah, it like we just named like 4 things, but there's like 20 things that we want to try. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna be eating a lot. I'm gonna gain a lot of weight.
But that's what it's. I mean, Disney calories don't count.
Exactly.
But, I mean, remember though. I mean, this is the important thing: is that wherever you go, you can share a meal.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think like at Food and Wine, that's a great idea to be sharing these snacks just so you can get a couple of bites of everything. Like that's perfect. But remember that when you go to a restaurant too, that you can share meals. You don't have to each order your own plate. So we did that numerous times. I've mentioned it here before that we went in like to Big River Grill and ordered the meatloaf and told them, we're going to split it. And the split plates were humongous. Like if I was to get that as my one meal that day, like I don't even know if I could finish it. So when you're going around next week on your awesome vacation, remember that, like, if you're going somewhere, just share a meal somewhere instead of ordering two great big plates and spending all that money. You can save a lot of money by sharing. So Tammy and I typically would split an appetizer and then an entree.
Yeah, that's super smart. I think we're gonna try that at a couple of different places, just to kind of like we want to experience a lot. There's a lot of things that we want to experience when it comes to food, because Disney does that real well. They do their food real well. So we definitely want to have the stomach space to do a lot of that. We're not even thinking about money space. We're thinking about stomach space.
Now, you guys were talking about doing some crawls, right? Like either a Skyliner crawl or a monorail crawl.
Yeah, I think so. We always end up taking that monorail loop and like getting off at all the resorts there. And so I think what we're gonna try to do is we've got a reservation at Steakhouse 71. Kristen actually wants to try to get what's the bar at Polynesian? Trader Sam's. I just have to tell myself it. She wants to try to get into Trader Sam's, which I told her is kind of like a feat. You have to be either real patient or real early. But she wants to try to do that, which I think would be great. I would love that. But I also kind of want to go hang out at the Enchanted Rose Lounge. So I think what we're going to try to do is not so much a crawl per se as like we're going to have dinner at the Contemporary. Then we may like go over to the Pollen. Actually, it is a crawl now that I'm saying it out loud. What we want to do is we want to. This is the plan right now. If we get into Trader Sam's, awesome. But the plan currently is we have dinner at Steakhouse 71, which actually might be so. This is why I'm doing this, folks. I'm bouncing this off Brian and talking about it out loud. What we want to do is we want to go to that lounge at the Poly that you can actually order. You can order appetizers from Ohana.
You can get the wings. You can get the bread pudding.
Yeah, exactly.
More than
she
just
wants
the.
Yeah, she wants the bread pudding. She's been talking about bread pudding almost every week.
And make sure you get a lapu lapu.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the drink that we want to get. But so we want to go there. So we may go there before dinner as an appetizer, maybe. But we also, I mean, we might go after dinner. Dinner's at like 7 p.m. And so we want to go there and get that stuff. And then we've got dinner at Steakhouse 71, and then we would make it over to Enchanted Rose Lounge and have drinks and kind of like end the night there. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at doing right now. That's the crawl that we're going to be going on.
I kind of find it interesting because you're progressing around the loop the wrong direction.
Well, yeah, we're going.
Like, if you remember, the monorail has two directions. One is the express, which goes just from TTC straight to Magic Kingdom, and it goes through the Contemporary on its way to the Magic Kingdom. So it's going counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm.
But the resort monorail goes the other way. So if you're starting at Polynesian, you'll have to go past the Grand Floridian over to Contemporary, and then eat at Contemporary, and then you want to get it to Grand Flow, well, you got to go past Polynesian to get to Grand Flow. So I just find it funny.
So we should. So talking about this. So this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm bouncing it off Brian. So if we want to do it the right way, we would start at Enchanted Rose Lounge, and then end at the Poly.
Well, I mean, you can do it however you want. If you're thinking appetizers at Tamboo, then that's kind of what you're going to have to do, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to grab a drink at Grand Flow at the Enchanted Rose, then you could do that. And then go over to, then take your monorail over to Contemporary and have dinner. And then just plan on bread pudding as your dessert at Tamboo Lounge at the end of after dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know where Trader Sam's fits in all of that, though.
Well, Trader Sam's would only happen if we actually get Trader Sam's. Like if we actually, because I think we're gonna, as soon as we get to the monorail loop area, which is gonna be around, like late afternoon, like probably around like 5-ish. So we're gonna get there, and I think we're gonna try to go in and see what we can do about Trader Sam's. If we don't get it, that's fine. But if we do get it, then I think that's going to be where we get drinks. So
I have never tried to do that. I think they open around 3 or 4.
Okay.
So your wait's going to build up from there. I don't know what that wait's going to be like. I couldn't fathom a guess for you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that you won't get the theming and the fun that you get with inside the bar. But if you're worried about a certain drink from that bar, you can get that out on the patio that's right outside. They have another bar out there where you can order those drinks. You just don't get the shenanigans with it.
What's that place with all the goofy stuff on the walls?
The goopy what?
All the goofy stuff on the walls.
The goofy stuff. I don't think Goofy has his own bar.
This is a quote that you're not getting. It's from Super Troopers.
Oh, I didn't. See, I'm old, Mykhailo.
You are old. No, you're not. But yeah, I think that's kind of the plan right now for that night, and it's a very fluid plan. And so look at that. I can be very strict about what I want to do in a day, and I can be very fluid with how I want to attack Disney. So I'm patting myself on the back about that. But yeah, I think it's going to be kind of like a game time decision on most of it. Obviously, we've got the reservation for Steakhouse 71. And now that I'm talking through it, I think, Brian, I may have said this on the podcast, but I don't think I did. Maybe I did. But I was thinking about like ordering my meal at Steakhouse 71 and then also getting the burger because Molly says that the burger is amazing. Maybe I don't do that with everything else that we want to do. And so this is the thing. We have so much that we want to do and only so much stomach space.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the longest trip you've taken, though, right? Like, this is going
Correct.
to be the longest trip.
Yes.
And you're trying to pack in even more. Like,
Mhm.
I just want people to realize, like, there is that much to do at Disney World. Like, he's going for the 3rd time this year. You've gone maybe once a year prior to this.
Yeah.
And, like, you're still trying to fit in and pack in as much as you can do. And new things and trying food and just trying to pack in some time to relax. Like Disney World's a feat, like in itself. So moment of silence for that one, please. Or
yeah, I know. We'll pour one out for the homies. And that's another thing, Brian, that we can talk about, talking about time and fitting everything in. We took away with going to Epcot now on Sunday of our vacation. We took away a day of just chilling. But
you're replacing that on Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah.
Before the party.
But again, now on that Tuesday, now we have a breakfast reservation because we moved the Whispering Canyon Cafe breakfast reservation to that Tuesday. It's earlier also, by the way. It's like at 8:10. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah. so like we've got that time, but we're already filling it with things that we want to do. But on that free day, the things that we do want to do, I think we're going to be able to do pretty easily. That's and on that day, the back end of that day, right around 5 is when we get to the monorail loop, and we're going to do all of our shenanigans on the monorail loop. But the front end of that day is going to be spent at Boardwalk. And one of the things I do want to do is kind of like walk through Boardwalk and then walk through Beach Club and Yacht Club, and just kind of like check out that whole area, check out Boardwalk. I'm not sure. I mean, all of this could go pretty quick, but we could also just really enjoy that area and spend a good amount of time there. We're going to try to get there fairly early. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how much time we're going to spend there. But yeah, we do want to also go mini golfing that day too, which honestly, I don't have to do. I was kind of excited about it because it's golf and I enjoy golf. But if there are other things that, if taking that away gives us more time to just chill places, I'd be very okay with that. And this is Brian. This is something that I'm coming to right now. This is you're watching my planning experience unfold in front of you. But yeah, so basically we're gonna get on the Skyliner, make our way over to the Boardwalk. Well, we're getting dropped off at International Gateway, and then we're walking to Boardwalk, which is not that long of a walk. So then we're gonna spend some time at Boardwalk, and then after Boardwalk stuff, we're going to the monorail loop. So it's like we have to get there around 5 or maybe even 4 just to give us more time around the monorail loop, because I don't want to be rushed around that area, because I love those hotels and I love chilling there and hanging out there. So maybe mini golf is a casualty in this, because I don't want to feel like we're rushed trying to do all of this stuff. But then again, that is a long amount of time, because it's possible that we just kind of like walk through Boardwalk and walk through Beach Club and Yacht Club and be like, oh yeah, that was fun. Oh, also, I didn't even talk about this. While we're on the Skyliner, we're stopping at like Riviera to go check out Riviera. So there's that too. So all of that stuff is kind of built into that time. So yeah, again, it's kind of a game time situation where, like, if we're going through all of this stuff and we're just kind of like passing by and looking at stuff, we could be done by like noon, and then be like, well, we've got all this time, so mini golf is definitely an option. But I think when it comes down to it, the mini golf may be cut, because I don't, again, and that was the big reason I wanted to have all like 2 days of off time, was because I wanted to be able to just like chill in areas. So I think I'm going to take things that you've told me, Brian, to heart, and just kind of try to slow down and enjoy Disney. So if that means that we have to cut the mini golf, so be it. But that's kind of like the realization that I'm coming to right now about that day.
And I've done the same thing. The last couple of trips I've said, they give us those free mini golf passes when you buy a package or whatever. And I've always, the last 2 trips I've said, well, why don't we go do this on this day? And by the time that day gets there, it's kind of like, let's not do that right now. Let's just sit by the pool, or let's go get a drink, or let's grab a snack. It sounds great going into it, but by the time you get there and you're thinking about it, it's like the last thing you want to do is chase a ball. Now, I have watched the Tim Tracker video where they go mini golfing.
Yes.
And I think it looks so awesome. And that's why I even entertain the idea, because like Disney does mini golf really good. Like these are the types of holes that I wish they had around here. We don't get that kind of stuff around here. So unfortunately we don't, but one of these days I will give it a shot down there and I'll rock that mini golf. I'll tell you right now.
Of course you will. Yeah. And we'll go sometime and you'll probably totally beat me.
Of course I will. You know, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Like I feel like I'm really good at mini golf, but you put me out on a putting green and I'll 4-putt every time.
Kristen, actually, we so this is another reason I kind of wanted to do mini golf was Kristen is a really good putter. I had her out on a par 3 and it's like her swing is pretty decent when she makes contact. That's always kind of hard for beginners, is like making that contact with the ball. Whenever she makes contact, it always goes a decent way. But like get her on the green and she's one putting. Like she was like putting them in from like 10 feet. Like that's hard for me. I say that as if I'm good. But yeah, like those
Former
are
pro.
difficult putts. And she was just like sinking them. And then we went to a one of those, like it's a bar and a like virtual golfing range, and they had these fun like putting greens that had a projector on it. It would project where you had to putt, and she was just like sinking them like every single time. So yeah, if anybody's gonna beat anybody at putt, it's gonna be Kristen's gonna beat me. But like we always say, some live close
And others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.